All right, so before we get into all the other things that we want to get into, there's a couple new bits of news that I wanted to bring to your attention, okay? That could very well pertain to the San Antonio Spurs. So first and foremost, all right, we're going to talk about a player. We're going to talk about a coach. So we'll start with the player. So apparently, Bradley Beal, his name is being brought up with the Spurs. I don't quite... Well, I know how to feel about this, but I don't quite know why. So the Heat, Nuggets, Spurs, and Warriors are among the teams that could pursue Bradley Beal if the Suns buy out his max contract. So obviously, that is a plus, than buying out that max contract. And maybe we can get him for a smaller deal. I know that a lot of players just in general want to come to the San Antonio Spurs. I'll be completely transparent with you, though. I haven't really kept up with Bradley Beal like that. I feel like a big chunk of the criticism was how much he was being paid, which I think rightfully so in this scenario, right? I think it's a little overblown with the Devin Vassell stuff, but this is an actual bad contract. But I don't really see how Bradley, at least I haven't watched him for a couple years. I'll be transparent. But I don't really see how his play style fits with the Spurs. So how do you guys feel about this? No, don't do it. We better not get Beal. Like, I saw this and grazed over because I thought it was fake. Well, it's Evan Siddery, and he usually is pretty good about this type of stuff. I don't think it's coming out of nowhere. Yeah, I don't think it's coming out of nowhere. So, and it was something else that he mentioned that I wanted to go over. But yeah, so just want to get your guys' thoughts on it. I personally don't think that this is a good pickup. I don't think it's necessary. We're about to get two more talented players. Hopefully the Spurs can get someone else in free agency. I just don't really see why Bradley Beal. Maybe if the price is right, but me personally, I don't really see how he fits with this at all. Nas Reed is something. Yeah, that's someone that you could pursue. I just don't quite understand this one. So just leaving that out there, letting you guys know that the Spurs are one of the teams that came up when it comes to Beal. But you know what? Honestly, I think we're going to come up a lot when it comes to these free agents because, hey, we do have, the cap space. We are an up-and-coming team, and so many players want to play for the Spurs. Even players going into the draft have acquired about the Spurs. Probably shouldn't have told you that, but yes. They've inquired about the Spurs. So, I don't know. But this right here, yeah, I don't think it'll be worth it. So the other bit of news is this, actually. The Suns are not interested in hiring Taylor Jenkins or Mike Malone. So that's another team that we can take off the list as far as if we had any competition when it comes to finding another head coach. Now, as I said, there's nothing set in stone yet. I saw a few people a little irritated with like how I don't feel like I've changed my tone on this at all, but just how aggressive I've been when it comes to getting a new head coach. To be honest, like, even though I love Popovich, right? I've mentioned this time and time again. I'm at the point now where, like, as a human, I'm kind of weary about him coaching. I just don't want anything to happen to him. But also just as a fan at this point, I just don't know what we're getting out of it. It's kind of weird because Pop is the best available coach, like easily. He's the best available coach, but there are so many unknowns. The Spurs tried to say, oh, he could be back this season. I didn't think that he would. I thought that would be miraculous if he's able to do that. Remarkable even. And yeah, it didn't happen. So, and now they're saying, well, he'll be back next season. We have hopes he'll be back next season. I just don't know. It's a lot of unknowns. So I'm just, if everything comes back and they're like, Popovich is fine, he's good, he's ready to go, at the very least, if these guys are willing, I would like to pick up Taylor Jenkins or Mike Malone to at least put on the sidelines, right? Like those would be my main picks. Me personally, I want Taylor Jenkins more than Mike Malone. Like it'll be Taylor Jenkins then Mike Malone. I know a lot of people Mike Malone then Taylor, but if we can get any of these guys on the bench, I think that's a W, right? That's an absolute W. So that's what I want at the very least, right? Because it's so unknown. Hopefully Pop does come back. He's fully healthy. He's the man. He get another championship before he retires as a coach. That is, that would be great. But you know, it might be wishful thinking at this point. So, anyways, so that's how I feel about that. So it looks like Taylor Jenkins and Mike Malone could very well be on the board. A team that got rid of a coach, and you're wondering, oh, are they trying to get? No, apparently not. So we'll wait and see on that. Now, there's one coach that I didn't mention, and I wanted to know your guys' thoughts on this as well. So Coach Budenholzer, he was just let go, right? So Phoenix Suns looking for a coach. They just let go of Mike Budenholzer. A lot of people are just a quick no. Some people are like, okay, Coach Bud, I remember him. He's good. And other people are like, maybe coming off the bench or coming off the bench as an assistant coach. Me personally, this is like a third tier down, right? As far as the coaches that I will want. No offense to Budenholzer. Like, I think that he is a fine coach. And sure enough, you know, it could very well just be that his teams just didn't necessarily resonate with him, right? But I just think Tyler Jenkins and Mike Malone are a little bit of a stronger presence than Coach Bud. And I think that they will be a little bit more of an impactful coach than Budenholzer would be. Now, with that being said, in today's NBA, having a legendary coach like Popovich isn't even necessary for you to win a championship. But I think it is necessary to have a phenomenal coach if you're going to be a dynasty, no matter how much talent you have, right? So you can get away with getting a championship, maybe even two, but becoming a dynasty, which is what the Spurs want, you need a great coach. Like you're not going to be able to just stumble upon that, right? You need someone to be a great coach. Through and through, no matter what. So, there hasn't been any dynasty coach that wasn't a great coach, in my opinion. Mike Malone is better. Yeah, I think Mike Malone is better. But, or are you trying to say better than Taylor Jenkins? My personal favorites would be, technically, it will be Messina, but that's not going to happen. But yeah, it will be Taylor Jenkins, then Mike Malone, then Budenholzer in that order. Actually, maybe after Budenholzer would be Mike Brown. Like, I feel like that's another step down, but you know, people probably don't agree with that. Look, I understand if you don't want KD because he's a bit older. He's KD though. Yeah. If KD wants a ring with the Spurs, then he needs to take a pay cut. Yeah, there's also been a lot of, I didn't have that up, but there also been a lot of rumors about KD potentially coming to the Spurs, or at least it's nothing set in stone. It was just around the time where it was trade deadline, he told some destinations that he wanted to go, and the Spurs were on the list. It was like 5 teams total, so I'm gonna take it with a grain of salt, right? And I also take it with a grain of salt because all the teams that he mentioned were in different stages, so it felt like, okay, you're only picking Spurs just to play with Wemby, maybe. I don't really know what he's going for at this point, you know, because usually teams have mentioned, or players have mentioned some teams, and all the teams make sense for their situation, right? Like, oh, I want to win a championship, and all these teams have a chance of doing that. But no, that was not the case. It was just kind of all over the place. But anyways, so that's the little bit of news right now. Let me know what you think about it. You know, I'll upload this segment a little bit later, and you know, all my YouTube people, you can tell us what you think. Okay, tell us what you think.